and get that nigga to quiet these niggas. And because we believed in him too. So we didn't even got Mr. Lewis. He came around, everything quieted down because he had got weapons and everything. They was ready to burn up Montgomery. So that settled that part of it. And other incidents during the protests, first the bus go. See, I brought a bus. You can see the bus have a rectangle on the table over there. And they had lines on the bus. You could only sit so far, about a portion of the back, but the rest of the bus belongs to the white. And when the bus got full of black, we had to go in the back door. They put your money in the front, giving them your money, and you go around to the back and get on the bus. But saying that, if the bus got full back there, if you give him your money, he would pull off and leave you out there with your money and with no ride. So, and even in the back, it was sometimes it gets so crowded, they would make some of the black get up to let the white people sit down. And again, as we stated before, we know that Ms. Parks was tired of that. So that broke that back. But again, we was harassed and carpooling. The policemen and all, they would stop you, but just stop you for anything they could come up with. I recall I had some people in the car, take them to work, and I was stopped. And so he said, "You ran the red light." Well, I know I didn't. I didn't even come that way. He said I ran the red light on. So he said, "Well, boy, get out the car." I got out the car. He said, "Come around to the back." I went to the back of the car. He said, "You don't have a tag light." So I got a ticket for no tag light. Not for running the light, but for no tag light. So that's the way things were at that time. It was pathetic. And one main incident I remember, I was at home, my wife and at home, and someone knocked on the door. And I just said, "Well, who is it?" They said, "The police." So I went to the door. I opened the door. He walked on by me, went to my back door. Opened the back door. Another policeman walked in. So it was on Jackson Street. Also, Dr. King lived on Jackson, as you know. We had a hospital, St. Margaret. And he said that some nigga snatched the pocketbook, and we saw him running in his house. But it wasn't me. I've been here all night. So he said, "Well, no." They took me back over to the hospital and had the nurse on the outside standing up and told me to step there and look. And I looked at her, and she looked at me. And she said, "That's not the nigga." So in saying that, at that time, I could have had a record not knowing nothing about it, but she told the truth. She told the truth. That's not the one. So then they made me walk back home, though. They didn't take me back home. They made me walk back home. So I end there in the question. Thank you.
My name is Nelson Malden. As Father Emmanuel told me, I'm a barber. There's one thing I want you to remember before I get started. The barbershop law will get you in prison, and barbershop medicine will get you in the cemetery. And back in the 1950s, that was a city ordinance that said that if a white person was asked to move out of their seat forward, there must be an available seat. If a black person was asked to move backwards, there must be an available seat. When the bus left Court Square, there was 2 white women and 1 white man standing. The bus driver told the 2 black men to get up, 2 white women got the seat. Then Ms. Parks looked back and didn't see her seat, so she kept her seat. And so that was the audience, but it was not enforceable. And one thing about the city of Montgomery at the time, they gave the bus drivers police power. And so if a bus driver gets you downtown and says he can have you arrested without any fanfare. And there were some routes in Montgomery that was no racial problems along, so that the Capitol Heights bus line was predominantly all white. And when the bus left from downtown, going to Capitol Heights. There was no problem. One of those bus lines in Montgomery where you had a mixture of about a 50-50. So the Cleveland Avenue, Washington Park bus line in South Jackson was the most problem, because when the blacks would leave the west side of Montgomery going to take care of the rich white people in Cloverdale, the lawyers, the doctors, and the cook. See, the bottom's having a problem already. So really, all the original people actually was better treatment on the bus. First come, first serve. First come, first serve. But the city did not go along with that program. They did not try to contain the bus drivers. Most of the bus drivers had less than a high school education. So, but they had all this authority when on that bus. They feel that was that kingdom. And so they could have a tendency to more or less abuse that power. So a lady named Mrs. Bix and Mrs. Parks went to the city mayor and told them, if you could if you can control your bus drivers, I think we could solve our problem here in Montgomery. But the mayor didn't take any action on that. Then he asked for some respect from the bus drivers, that don't be calling old women gal and girl, and old black men uncle and preacher. So give them some respect. He said you can solve the problem. But the mayor still didn't go along with that. And so then he said on predominantly black line, let's have black drivers. They didn't go along with that. And so, but in 1952, a black man got on the bus on Jackson and Auburn Street, and he was drunk. And he dropped his money on the floor. The bus driver told him to pick it up. He told the bus driver, you pick it up. When he got downtown, the man had the police shot him and killed him. The name was Mr. Brooks. And that really inflamed the city of Montgomery. So the pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, before Reverend King, was Vernon John, so he put on the marquee that Sunday is safe to kill Negroes in the South. And so the mayor called Vernon John in and said, don't you think that's dangerous for you to preach a sermon like that? You might have silent route. So Vernon John told him, said, preachers is a dangerous job. He said, if you remember Jesus Christ and his 12 disciples, they were one died natural death. And so he went home. So anyway, then so in 1950s, Mrs. Browder was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman. So she went and filed a suit, Browder versus Gale. And so that suit went all the way to the United States Supreme Court. It ended bus segregation in Montgomery. It also helped overturn Pleasant versus Ferguson and separate but equal clause in the U.S. Constitution. Now I'm going to give you a little history of the boycott, how it got started. In 1945, a lady named Mary Fairbanks, a professor of English at Alabama State University, attempted to join the Women League of Voters, which was an all-white organization. They turned her down because she was black. So she went and formed her own organization called the Women Political Council. From the Women Political Council, a lot of professional black women joined the council to help out with the poor, uneducated black people. So in 1949, President Clinton hired another black lady named Joanne Roberts. So those two black ladies got together and worked very effective in the neighborhood. But there were two black men that did not get along. Both of them had different philosophy of how black people should get their rights. A man called Mr. Nixon said the best way for black people to get their rights is go to court. And Mrs. Parker was his recording secretary. He was also over the NAACP. That was his idea. Another man on the side of town named Rufus Lewis, had a master's degree from Tennessee State University. He was half owner in the Ross and Clayton Funeral Home. He felt that black people should get the right to vote. Don't ask the white folks for things, just get your right and vote your own people in office. So anyway, they had a literacy test that they would give, and basically to keep blacks from voting. Now, the test had 6 to 8 questions, so I want to give you a few of the questions and see can some of you professional people especially, and he'll give me the answer. Okay, on the test it said a United States Senator elected at the general election in November take office the following year on what day? A United States Senator elected at the general election in November take office the following year on what date? Somebody, please. January the 3rd. A president elected at the general election in November take office the following year on what day? Do we have any political science people in here? On what day? January the 20th. when the Constitution was approved by the original colonies, how many states had to nullify it in order for it to become effective? Now, this test was given to uneducated black people back there in the 40s and 50s. When the Constitution was approved by the original colonies, how many states had to ratify it in order for it to become effective? Come on, somebody. How many? 9. I guess everybody can answer this one. What woods are required by law to be on all coins and paper currency in the United States? In God we trust. Whew, boy. Y'all hearing the question, I'm asking you for an answer. Okay. Now this was a literature test. This is a test that we use to help overturn help bring about the voting rights law. He said approximately appropriation of money for the armed service can be only for a period of how many years can the United States Congress appropriate money for the armed service? 2. Name the level of government which can level tax. State and local. I'm just going through a few of them. He said if a state is a party to a case, the Constitution provides that original jurisdiction shall be in the Supreme Court. Now this is a question here I bet nobody can answer, I don't believe. The Constitution limits the size of the District of Columbia to how many miles? Golly. Now can you imagine people being able to vote back there with these type of questions? The Constitution limits the size of the District of Columbia to 10 square miles. How many states were required to approve the original Constitution in order for it to be in effect? 9. On the impeachment of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, who tries the case? The Senate. Well, I guess I'll read you in a moment because soon I get too many answers. So anyway, that was a little test that we give you. So anyway, the 2 men have the difference of philosophy and how to get elected, how to get rights. So out of Alabama, you had out of Montgomery, you had a United States Supreme Court. Broward versus Gale, which Rosa Parks, you're familiar with that case. The case was not filed on the Rosa Parks versus Gale. It was filed on the Broward versus Gale. And so it went on. So originally, all Reverend King asked for a more humane form of segregation. First come, first served. The city didn't go along with that. Then I give you a little, Reverend King made another statement. He said that the ruling class made the poor white man invisible and made the poor black man visible. He said until we could get the black man to be visible and the poor white man to be invisible, said we're going to continue to have a problem. So one day in the barber shop, Reverend King ran into a professor of sociology from Hampton Institute. And Reverend King was on this moral kick. He said, you know, the morality of the universe and moral, blah, 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 blah. And the professor said, Rev, he said, when the European white man set this system up, the first thing he did was build some of the top universities in the New England area. He educated himself. Then the second thing he did, when he found oranges in Florida, Minute Maid found oranges in Florida, Domino Sugar found sugar cane in Louisiana, Rockefeller found oil in Texas, Philip Morris cigarettes found tobacco in Virginia. He said that's that he came up with Wall Street to control his capital. After he controlled his capital, then he came up with West Point to defend it. He said that is the country. Reverend King came up with some more moral statement about morality and how human beings. And so the professor told Reverend King, he said, man, he said the human race has not evolved further enough for morality to be a dominant force. He said, and Reverend King looked at the watch and said, have a good day, sir. So anyway, when I will tell you a few little, the worst thing ever happened to me when it comes to integration was when the Civil Rights Bill was passed in 1964. I went home that night, I told my wife, I said, let's go and test the integration. And she said, okay. So we goes out to the Diplomat Motel, cocktail lounge. We get in the cocktail lounge and we order some drinks and we have a good time drinking. The band had a country western band playing. I should have left then, but anyway, we stayed. So 4 white guys came in table over from us and they started drinking Jack Daniels on double Jack Daniels and water, and one at Budweiser. And so